For my last video, I'd like to talk about the susceptibility, treatments, and the outlook for influenza. So influenza obviously is extremely common, but it is also extremely easy to catch. Without a vaccine, it's an extremely easy disease to catch. Like I said previously, many people, including yourselves, have probably had it before. Prevention is the most effective management strategy of influenza. Getting a vaccine is extremely important. There's a 50 to 60% efficacy against infection with influenza A, 70% against influenza B, and according to the CDC, the 2015-2016 U.S. influenza season was milder than the past 3 seasons, peaked later than usual, which is pretty important because it shows the level of vaccinations that are being given. So because treatment is kind of a difficult thing when it comes to influenza, because when somebody catches influenza or catches the flu, most treatment is done at home. Unless the flu is extremely serious, most people stay at home and they let their body fight the infections with using over-the-counter medications such as ibuprofen, and drinking plenty of fluids and not exercising allows the body to fight the infection off. In extreme cases with highly susceptible people, or with certain outbreaks such as the swine flu or the bird flu that happened in the recent decades, hospitalization is required, and there are some antiviral medications that are given, but it's such a rare thing that it's not a huge topic to cover. What should be covered with this is the vaccination of people. Many people, well, not many, but there are some people out there that believe that the seasonal flu vaccine is unimportant and not needed. And that may be somewhat factual, but on the other side, there is also a very strong chance that if more people get unvaccinated instead of vaccinated, then the herd mentality, or the herd theory in terms of susceptibility, is that if you're not vaccinated and somebody is, you can still spread the disease to the person that's vaccinated, who can still spread it to somebody else, and it allows the disease to thrive seasonally every year, and it can cause epidemics and pandemics, as we saw in the early 1900s. We even discussed this during our pandemic section of the class, that there was a huge outbreak that killed millions and millions of people worldwide, and that was previously before a vaccine, so it can happen. The vaccine recommendations for 2016 and 2017 are all people 6 months or older should receive the influenza vaccine annually. For healthy children 2 to 8 years, they should have an age-appropriate formulation for vaccine, and persons with a history of egg allergy but have only experienced hives after exposure to eggs could also receive the influenza vaccine. These are extremely important to the prevention, along with washing your hands, because like I said previously, it can destroy the influenza virus at the source, are extremely important to stopping the disease, because again, treatment's not really like the other 2 diseases that I talked about. Treatment is normally self-care, staying at home, not exercising, and not being around other people, because that spreads the disease, because it's highly contagious. It's done by droplets from when you're sneezing or coughing, or when you exchange saliva through any way. So it's very important to completely just get yourself vaccinated every year, so that way you can stop the spread of the influenza virus. So it is very difficult to actually get a hold on death rates throughout the United States, because states don't have to individually report influenza death rates. So the CDC does an estimate, and the most valuable number that I came out with was that only 8.5% of pneumonia and influenza deaths, and only 2.1% of all respiratory and circulatory deaths come from influenza-related incidents. However, this is not because it cannot kill you, it is because vaccine and prevention, and our knowledge of washing our hands has increased, and so the prevalence of the disease is becoming less and less. Flu-associated deaths can range between 3,000 and 49,000 people. Again, it's an estimate from the CDC, and it's very difficult to actually put a number on how many people die in the United States. The only way that I can end this video is to just, again, bring back the fact that washing your hands and using a vaccine can be the preventive measure for the influenza virus, and it is extremely important to keep those things in mind every day. So yeah.